Hi guys, hello from me and my very risky white turtleneck. Will I get makeup on this by the end of the video? Vote down below. So today we are gonna be doing a 5 best and 5 worst. I'm very excited about this particular 5 best and 5 worst because we are gonna be tackling Fenty Beauty. I love these, especially when it comes to brands, because I feel like it's a really great way for you guys to get just like a quick review and look within the brand and see what's good and see what's not so good, at least in my opinion. The comments that you leave on these videos are always some of my favorites because you guys give such great reviews. So I would love if you could give me more reviews down below. Let me know some of your favorite and least favorite products from Fenty Beauty. And also let me know what other 5 best and 5 worst you would like to see from me. Whether that's a brand or just like a makeup category, let me know down below. And of course, I mean, you know what to do. Hit the thumbs up button. If you enjoy these types of videos, you have to. I'm giving you no choice. Okay, that's all I gotta say. Let's get right into it. All right, so as per usual, I wanna start off with my 5 favorite products from Fenty. So first, I wanna start off with a product that I feel like a lot of people actually may overlook in the brand. I feel like it's a really underrated product, and that is the Fenty brushes. Now, to be very honest with you, when brands release brushes, I very rarely purchase them. I just don't find it's necessary. Like when a brand will release a product that's meant to go with a specific brush, I never purchase that brush just because I have brushes that I feel like work just fine. However, for Fenty, I feel like it's a completely different story. These brushes from Fenty are probably some of my most used, most reached for brushes, which really surprised me, honestly. I didn't expect that I would love these as much as I do, but honestly, like I cannot not have them in my collection. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go through each one of my favorites and I'm gonna let you know what I use it for and why I like it. So first, starting off with the 115 foundation, this is a foundation brush. It's a very short and very like tightly packed, dense brush. So because this is such a dense brush, I find this does such a good job of blending out my foundation and giving me a very airbrushed look, because I just find it blends out my foundation so seamlessly without there being any streaks, and it's also just really quick and efficient. Probably my favorite brush in the collection is this guy over here. This is the 170 setting brush. Now I don't use this for setting powder, but I love using it for bronzer. This is like the most perfect shape and size and fluffiness to apply a really like seamless bronzer onto the face. So I think if I had to recommend one of these brushes, it would probably be this one, also because it is pretty versatile. You could totally also use this with blush as well. It is a really good size for that too. So speaking of blush, I would say that this one is my favorite current blush brush. This is the 195 bronzer brush. Now I don't really know why this would be a bronzer brush. I feel like this is way too small for bronzer, but for me, I really love this for blush. I just think it's the perfect size to get right on the apple of the cheek. I find it blends out product beautifully. But again, if you're looking for a nice versatile brush, this would be great for blush, contour, and even highlighter. It's really nice and small. This last brush over here is actually an eyeshadow brush that I do not use for eyeshadow. This is the 240. So the reason why I don't like this for eyeshadow is because I do feel like it's a little bit too stiff. I don't feel like it's a great blending or even a great packing eyeshadow brush, but I love this for concealer. It's kind of that perfect size to get right underneath the eye. And because this is supposed to be an eyeshadow brush, it is kind of fluffy. So I find that bit of fluffiness really just like airbrushes the concealer really nicely for underneath the eyes, and I just think it's nice when you want to be really precise with your concealer, so I do really like that for that purpose. And yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say about the brushes. Again, I think that they are really overlooked within the brand, and it's one of the very few makeup brands that aren't just focused on makeup brushes that I think are actually worth checking out. So next, moving on to one of Fenty's newer releases, and that is the new Snap Shadows. Now I feel like with the world of eyeshadow, it's definitely really difficult to release a product that hasn't really been done before, because at this point it kind of feels like every single possible eyeshadow combination has been released within a palette. But I think Fenty did such a good job in releasing a product that is kind of unique and a little bit different in the eyeshadow palette category. Now these Snap Shadows are really cool because you can actually take 2 of them and just pop them together to create your own little kind of custom type of palette. So essentially they released 8 different little mini eyeshadows, and each little eyeshadow palette. It has 6 different shades, and each palette does have like a certain color theme. So this one is number 4, and this is the rose palette. So all the shades in here have a nice kind of rosy theme to it. This one is the shade number 7, Cadet. And this one in particular I find has a really cool vibe to it. This actually reminds me a little bit of like the Subculture palette from Anastasia. It has similar tones with those like muted khaki shades. There's also palettes that have more neutral shades, like really intense metallics, very bright colors. So there really is something for everybody. I think a really smart way to use these snap shadows is to get 2 palettes, one that you would use more so day to day and one that you would use more at night. So whether that's more of like a neutral palette and maybe a palette that has more like fun, colorful shades, or even like a smokier palette, when you combine the 2 in this little package, you're gonna have your perfect little palette system. I just really love the idea of having 12 eyeshadows in this little compact little package. I just think it's so great. Let's talk about the Fenty Beauty bronzers. I feel like Fenty was one of the very first brands to really release an extensive shade range for bronzers. Fenty released 8 different shades, which is great, all varying in shade and also in undertone. So the 2 shades that I personally have and kind of switch between are Private Island, which is a little bit deeper and warmer, and I also have Shady Biz, which is still a warm shade, but it's not quite as dark as Private Island. The formula is really soft, smooth, and creamy. So when it applies to the skin, it applies in a really like creamy way, meaning it doesn't apply powdery. When you put your brush into your product, as hard as you stab this, you're not going to get a lot of powder kickback, which means you're not going to get an overwhelming amount of product onto your brush, which is ideal when you're applying bronzer, because if you have too much product on your brush, you're more likely to just get like a messy, powdery, bronzy look. And this really is a formula that I feel like just melts into the skin, and that's really easy to work with, and that's all I ask for when it comes to a bronzer. Now right now I'm actually not even wearing a powder bronzer, I'm just wearing a cream one, so might as well layer some of this on just so you guys can at least see how this applies. So I'm gonna take a little bit of Shady Biz and just lightly apply that where I would typically bronze. And there, now you could also see how this brush applies. And the combination of the 2, this brush with the bronzer, it's like a perfect combination. So this would not be a Fenty video if I didn't talk about the Gloss Bomb. I feel like the Fenty Gloss Bomb is such a cult favorite, even though it hasn't been around for that long. I feel like this is what Fenty really is the most known for. It's really simple. It breaks down to a few factors. Number 1, they're glossy as can be. Like, they give a reflective quality to the lips, which is just so beautiful. It makes your lips look really juicy and plump and gorgeous. Number 2, they are not sticky. They have 0 tackiness to them, which is fantastic. Number 3, they smell so good. It's like sweet, delicious cherry. It's a very nostalgic scent. For some reason, this reminds me of the early 2000s, but in the best way possible. It just smells really, really good. The 4th reason why these are so great is because of the texture. I mean, that kind of ties into the non-stickiness factor, but besides not being sticky, they just feel really delicious on the lips. They have a nice kind of thick gel-like texture to them, which makes them just so flattering on the lips. Because they're a little bit thicker in consistency, they kind of just glide over your lips. They'll glide over the lines on your lips, just make your lips look really plump and full, which I feel like is what glosses are really meant to do. Now, the original Gloss Bomb color will always be a favorite of mine, but since releasing the original, they have released a lot more shades. So these 2 shades are probably my 2 ultimate favorites. The first one over here is actually brand new. It's the shade Glass Slipper. It's a clear gloss, okay? There's nothing that exciting about it, but I think a clear gloss is such a staple in everybody's collection. Everybody needs a good clear gloss because they're just so versatile. You could wear them obviously on their own, or you could layer them on top of any lipstick without worrying about it changing the color of the lipstick. You'd also just simply layer it on top of a lip liner. My second favorite is the shade Fussy. This is kind of like a baby doll pink color. They are quite sheer, so the colors don't really show up that intense on the lips, but they show up enough where they will give you kind of like a wash of color. This one is absolutely gorgeous, so I'll put it on right now so you guys can see. So this is Fussy. And I also love the applicator. It's a really thick and big doe foot applicator, and it just makes it nice and easy and quick to apply. And there you have Fussy. I feel like this is just such a great everyday shade. It's the type of color that will just enhance your own natural lip color. It's not gonna add anything crazy, so I think it's just great to pop on. I will show you the clear gloss. Clear gloss is as boring as it may seem. I mean, they just give a certain effect to your lips that color glosses just don't do. It almost makes your lips look kind of reflective and just wet, you know? I mean, look at that. That I feel like is even glossier than Fussy. It's so beautiful. So those were the gloss bombs. Now I want to talk about the Stunna Lip Paints because these are probably one of the very, very few liquid lipstick type of formulas that I actually love. I like the idea of putting on a lip color, not really worrying too much about it fading or moving around, but I hate the way liquid lipsticks feel and sometimes look as well. I find that they could look really dry and unflattering and they just feel really heavy and dry and uncomfortable on the lips. This is a liquid lipstick, but it's a very, very, very well done liquid lipstick. So this is a liquid lipstick that is not going to dry down completely. So it's not going to compromise how your lips are going to feel. Your lips are still going to feel nice and normal after applying this. They're not going to completely dry out. Besides that, the pigment on this is insane. You get one swipe, full intensity. It's absolutely gorgeous. And I think that's all I really got to say about it. I just think it's a really, really, really great lip color, and I think it's a good compromise if you're looking for a liquid lipstick type of product that's not completely unwearable because it's so uncomfortable. I'm gonna show you guys how this applies because I feel like it's worth showing. I also love the applicator on this. It's very unlike any other applicator I've ever seen in a lip product. I'm gonna zoom you guys in so you can see. It kind of is rounded, which makes it really, really easy to get the edges of your lips really nice and sharp without having to use a lip liner. But I'm gonna put on a nude so that I can actually wear it with my eyes because that would totally clash. So this is the shade Unbutton. So this is a really pretty kind of yellowy nude. I love it. So those are all 5 of my top favorite products from Fenty. So now let's get down to the nitty-gritty and talk about my 5 least favorite products. So I first want to start off with a complexion product that I'm just not a fan of, and I really gave this a very fair shot. This is the Fenty Pro Filt'r Instant Retouch Concealer. I really wanted this to work, and I wanted this to work so badly that I even did a video retrying the concealer, trying to give it like a second shot, trying it in maybe even a different way than I initially used it. Unfortunately, it just didn't work, and even since that video last year, I've continued to try this like every once in a while, but I just can't because the formula of this is just way too dry. Every time I put this underneath my eyes, it just makes my under eyes look so heavy and so cakey. So this concealer that when dries down to, I would say, like a powdery finish. So when you apply this underneath the eyes, especially if you have any type of dryness under there, you're going to get a super dry under eye look, and it's just going to look super heavy. This is a product that I feel like does work better on the face rather than underneath the eyes because of that drier consistency. This works nicely on top of blemishes because it's not really going to move around, which is something that could happen with some like hydrated concealers, but even so, I'm just not such a fan of it. Overall, I just feel like it's not a flattering product unless you are like 12 with flawless under eyes, no fine lines, and no dryness, which most of us are not. The next product that I'm really not such a fan of is another complexion product, and that's the Fenty Pro Filt'r Hydrating Longwear Foundation. Now, I almost wouldn't judge this as harshly if this wasn't called a hydrating foundation because I feel like it's a little bit misleading. As somebody with dry skin, I was really excited to see that they released a hydrating foundation because the original Fenty foundation, I like it, but only in very specific instances where I want something that is more matte, that is really long wearing, and I feel like I could only really make it work if I mix it with like 3 other products. However, I feel like this isn't even really good for dry skin, which is why it's one of my least favorite products from the brand. I just kind of found like this was a very difficult foundation to work with. I found that it looked really thick on the skin. It did not look hydrating at all, and it also even blended out in a really weird kind of patchy way, and it very much so accentuated any dryness that I had on my face. I would take that opinion with a grain of salt. Of course, with complexion products especially, it really just depends on your skin type, although I do know that a lot of you guys kind of like the same things that I like, so that's why I wanted to put it out there. But I think the best thing to do always with really any foundation is to get a sample, and that way you could try it out and see if it works for you with really no commitment. So number 3, the Fenty matchsticks. Now I feel like I'm kind of in denial with these. I have done so many declutters, especially in like my cream product drawer in my makeup collection, and I have kept these throughout so many declutters, and that's because I really, really love the shades that Fenty has come out with. But the formula for these cream sticks just really are not my cup of tea. Now, as you guys know, I'm a big fan of cream products. I love a good cream product, and I feel like I've really learned what qualities make up a good cream product. And one of those qualities I think is really important in any cream product is just the ease of use. And a cream product becomes difficult to use when it's a very dry consistency, because when a cream is dry, blending it out is kind of a nightmare, and that's when you're going to achieve a look that's, you know, patchy and not super seamless. That's what people sometimes associate with cream products, but there are some really amazing cream products that just melt into the skin with almost no effort at all, and those are the ones that I love. These ones, however, do the latter. Like, I have kept this shade over here in my collection for such a long time because there are very few cream bronzers that have this particular undertone. This is the shade Amber, and it's such a great cool tone contour shade. And unfortunately, whenever I apply this to my skin, I'm just not happy with the way that it looks, and it really looks like it's a product that's sitting on top of my skin, which is the exact opposite of why I like creams. So even though these do come in some really pretty shades, and even some of the shades are worth putting that little bit of extra effort to make them work on the skin, I just feel like there's so many other cream products out there, like the Nude Stix cream products, that just work a lot better and that you're not going to have to struggle with in getting a nice seamless look. So now moving on to number 4, we have a brow product here. This is the Brow MVP. Now, most brow products have a spoolie in order to like blend out the color in your brows. This brow product decided to be a little bit different, and it has this interesting little mini brush. It's like a really dense brush. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh, very cool. What an interesting way to kind of change up the typical spoolie that we always see at the end of an eyebrow pencil. However, in use, I feel like this brush just doesn't really cut it for me. Now, it does somewhat blend out the brow color, it like softens it a little bit. However, a spoolie does the exact same thing, but a spoolie will also, you know, comb through your brows, make everything look nice and uniform. This doesn't do that. If you do want to comb through your brows, you're gonna have to find another spoolie from another brow pencil and do that as well. So I don't like that because it just kind of makes this a pain in the ass product to use, because you have to go in with another product in order to kind of finish off the brows. Something else that I'm not a fan of with this brow pencil is this. This is what happened to my brow pencil. For really no apparent reason. It kind of just keeps slipping out, which is a little bit annoying. Besides that, the formula of this brow pencil is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. I find a brow pencil to kind of be difficult to mess up. However, with those two things, I feel like this is just a brow pencil that you should probably skip on. I think there are some other really great brow pencils out there, like the Benefit one is like my tried and true. And so this was a great example of where that innovativeness just didn't really pay off. My 5th disappointing product from Fenty is the new Full Frontal Mascara. Is that what it's called? Yeah, the Full Frontal Mascara. I've spoken about this already like a couple times, stating that I did not like this, so I'm sorry if this is repetitive. This was a product from Fenty, again, that I was just disappointed by. I just found that this mascara made my lashes not look so great. I found that it made my lashes look really clumpy. So this mascara is meant to be applied in 2 different steps. So you have the flat side, like this. So you apply it almost like flat to your lashes, and then when you turn it, it gets skinny, and you apply this side to your lashes as well, and you're supposed to get a really lengthy, voluminous false lash look. However, I found that this made my lashes not look lengthy or voluminous. I found that it made my lashes look really clumpy. It didn't give me any length whatsoever, and I just kind of felt like it pushed all of my lashes together into little clumps. I have tried a couple different ways of applying this, using both sides, just using one side, different combinations. It just doesn't work, and so I just feel like this is another product that I feel like could be skipped on. All right, guys, so that is it for my 5 best and 5 worst Fenty. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video and found it helpful. Again, don't forget to let me know some of your favorite and least favorite products from the brand, and let me know some of your thoughts on the products that I mentioned today. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let me know down below. Of course, hit the thumbs up button if you did enjoy it, and subscribe if you want to join the fam. And that is it. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.